Rick Pitino in his second seasons at schools. I just want to put this into your mind. At BU, in his second season, his first season, they were Division I independent. His second season, they got into the ECAC and they won the league. At Providence, his first season, they were okay. Second season, they make it to a Final Four. At Kentucky, in his second season, they won the SEC and set themselves up for that run that they had in the early and mid 90s. At Louisville, after going to the NIT his first season, the second year, they went 25-7 and finished third in a loaded Conference USA. And at Iona, he went from ninth place in his first year to first place in the MAC in his second season. So, T.O., what will the Johnnies be this year in the Big East in Rick Pitino's second season in Queens?
What did he say last year where he wanted to go jump off the bridge? Was it?
Yeah.
It's not that bad. Thunder and Lightning taking over New York. That's going to be Davon Smith, Kaderi Richmond. I love the combination because of the different ways they come at you, the change of pace. He's always had kind of teams like that, whether he went super small at the 1s and 2s where he had with Russ Smith and some of these teams at Louisville. He's always had these uber quick guards. I love the fit with Pitino and Kaderi Richmond because Richmond's effort has been up and down throughout the course of his college career. It was great last year, but his effort's been up and down. You don't give second fiddle effort with Rick Pitino. I think we're going to get the best version of him this year on top of what we already saw was a terrific year last year at Seton Hall. And Smith is just a jitterbug. He's so fast. He can attack the rim. I thought he was good last year at Utah. It's going to come down to those two guards, but I think there's a lot of pieces there. Was it RJ Luis? Am I pronouncing that right? RJ Lewis had surgery in the offseason, says legs feel great. Another really good player, 11 points a game. I think this team fits him. And a couple of big guys they added was Iwuchukwu, who had that medical concern at Southern Cal. He's got a lot of length. He's a shot blocking guy, fits kind of that mold of a Rick Pitino 5-man. This is going to be a really good team. How far can that backcourt take you? Simeon Wilcher, who I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of surprised that he stuck around because the details of his recruitment, wherever he was going to North Carolina and then he leaves and goes to St. John's, it seemed kind of like a bit of a flight risk. Not the case. Hung around. He's going to continue under Rick Pitino. Now he has an opportunity to be a big factor off the bench. I like Brady Dunlap, who can space it out and shoot the ball a little bit. Seemed to get more comfortable as the year went along. I think they're going to be a really tough out. They're in that second tier for me.
Yeah, Aaron Scott. So you didn't mention Aaron Scott. I don't think the kid from North Texas that can shoot it. That can.
No, I didn't. But average right at 11 points a game. But a really good shooter, space it out, fits that mold. They're going to be really good. They're going to be really good in that second tier of teams, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that they're right on the borderline of preseason top 25. I really like them. And Fanta, look, it's another trend. You got a Seton Hall player transferring to St. John's. These like intra rivalry transfers are going to drive me insane. Like, what are we doing here? But St. John's got Kadari.
They got Kadari Richmond. That was a mammoth get for them when they were able to reel him in. And St. John's will be at Seton Hall Saturday, January the 18th at the Prudential Center. In what should be quite a Saturday Metropolitan game in mid-January, MLK Day weekend. The Red Storm will host Seton Hall Saturday, March 1st. That game is at Carnesecca. I think it's there for a reason. St. John's is very I do think that they prefer to not have Seton Hall come to the Garden where they're very close to MSG. They want them on their campus. That rivalry's real. And there's bad blood there, and there's nothing wrong with that. It fuels everything. I think that with St. John's, what you think of them is determined by two things. How much you're willing to buy their three-point shooting, and how much you're willing to buy the idea that Zuby Ejiofor and Vincent Iwuchukwu can function game in and game out against the Ryan Kalkbrenners, Samson Johnsons, Eric Dixons, Zach Fremantles of the world. This team has two players, right, that have got to make shots. It's quite simple. Davon Smith, who shot 41% from three last year, the previous 3 seasons hovered around 27% from three. Now, there's volume there. too.
Yeah, he was asked to do a lot at Georgia Tech. He's asked to do it a lot. Yeah.
Right. But that's a big difference, Tio. It is.
Of course it is. Yeah.
Kadari Richmond, 27% from three last year. The year previous to that, 44%. Can he get somewhere in between there? Aaron Scott, 37% from three a year ago. This team has got to be able to make threes. Simeon Wilcher and Brady Dunlap are going to be very critical to that as well. And I'm with you. When you look at their roster, you would have thought that they lost Simeon Wilcher with the amount of other guards that they brought in. So how does Rick Pitino balance getting the best out of Wilcher in year two versus the other veteran guards who have signed on and agreed to a good amount of money to play at St. John's and to be part of that equation? We will see. RJ Lewis, when he was healthy last year, made all the difference. Two things. One, St. John's blew out Seton Hall in the Big East tournament on the quarterfinal Thursday to make the semifinals for the first time in almost 25 years. And it was because Lewis was healthy. And by the way, who came the closest to UConn in March? St. John's. St. John's gave them a game in the Big East semifinals. UConn did win. It didn't feel like UConn was ever really going to lose, but UConn obliterated their opponents in the NCAA tournament. They won their 6 combined games by a combined 140. And in that game against St. John's, they got tested. We hit the under 4 timeout in the second half, and we were like, it's a ball game. You never know what can happen. Now it's time for St. John's to package together results in November and December. They, more than anybody, got hurt last year by not doing enough in their non-conference, by getting blown out by Michigan. When you look at their non-conference schedule, they have 2 crucial areas. Number 1, Bahamas Championship against Baylor, top 10 team, and then either Tennessee, top 10 or 15 team, or Virginia. Got to get one.
That's going to be a good MTE. Holy smokes. It's going to be a good MTE. Same place we were at, Rob.
Terrific MTE.
You think they'll fly us back down again?
No. Would be awesome.
Terrific MTE. Then they face Georgia in the Bahamas. Not an easy game. It would appear that Mike White has a team that is ready to take the next step down there at Georgia. The other game is a home game on Saturday, December 7th against Kansas State. Those are the 2 areas. Trip to the Bahamas, home game against Kansas State. You'd really like to go 3-1 in that stretch. You'd really like to find a way to 3 wins in that stretch, because I think you should beat Kansas State at Carnesecca. Georgia on a neutral, I would take St. John's. And you got to get a split in your MT. They do that and they avoid any bye game losses. They're going to go into Big East play. They're going to be in a very nice position to get a 6 or a 7 seed in the NCAA tournament.